Hey everyone, Stockfire. It's time for another Dogfire Down and Dirty Microtech video. So a microtech video means hopefully it's nice and fast. So real quick, we're going to go over some macroline and kind of some builder tips on macroline that's out there. Now I can't remember which builder, if it was Jason Annell, Jay from Bearded Works, or Tim Furpo from Paintball Tech, that I was looking at one of their tips. It was one of those three, I think it's probably Jason, and he talked about macroline, and he says, you know, with macroline, when you get it, let me zoom in here, it's got this, you know, writing on it, just Parker macroline. It's got this writing on it that gives, you know, description, and it's about every foot that they have that writing on there. And he says, and I agree with him, is that he doesn't like when you have the macroline and you can see this writing, and that's the piece you use. You know, just buy a longer piece and cut this off. Well, I did some kind of testing today, and I was kind of curious because I don't like wasting too much stuff if I can. Not that it's always when I need macroline I don't have any, but I definitely have a lot of black. And so I started doing some testing. I go, you know, there's got to be something that wipes it off. So I have acetone and a little bit of acetone in here. Just regular acetone. This is from the hardware store. And I'll get a little bit on this, little acetone on this cloth. And we're going to see, there it is right there. Let's zoom in. Oh, by the way. Okay, you can see it. Get the acetone tip. And we're going to just do a quick wipe. And there we go. No more stuff. We have it at this end. We have some. There's a little bit right there. So let's go like this. And it wipes right. You can see just a little bit of it left. So that's kind of nice. And so if you accidentally, you know, you have some on there, you can get a little bit of acetone and wipe off that writing. It doesn't hurt the rubber. This is a pretty durable rubber. You know, I hear a lot of folks talking about, you know, this is, I think, 1/8 inch by, I think it's the 16th inch sidewall. I don't remember what size. It's the standard stuff. It seems to be a little bit smaller. It fits good on these small barbs, like these ones that you have on, this is the bell cells, oops, this way. Those are small ones. But you have these bigger barbs, like right here. And these are, like you see, like on war games, and this ends up being an Evo Ram. You know, some people will cut their macroline with the razor blade, which is fine. I think you can use a lot of different tools out there to cut your microline, or the pneumatic, not macroline, it's microline, I guess. I initially use a pair of diagonal cutters, and then I always try to make sure to get this as square as possible. I want to be able to have as much of the barb hold as I can. And so there's a couple techniques. If you're here in California, it's always kind of warm and your macroline's, you know, warmer. Usually you can wiggle it on. I usually try to start, I can pop it off that bottom one. I get this over here. It's hard to do this in the camera. I'll try to wiggle it on from the side and then roll it over. I don't put any lubricant on it. I've had more bad luck with lubricant coming off or making that pop off. So that's how easy that front one was. Now, if it is a little harder, people say, you know, warm up your macroline. You know, don't run fire on it. It doesn't need to be that warm. It just needs to be softened up. Quite frankly, the way in the field is I may put a little macroline in my mouth and just kind of chew on the end a little bit just to soften it up, warm it up. It just needs to be warm. It doesn't. If it's really cold out, just put it in your hand and just let it get warm in your hand for a while. Put it out in the sun. You don't need to run fire on it. And actually, I would be more concerned that you're going to degrade the hose if you do that. That's probably a little long, but I'll probably trim it after I get all done. And this LPR has the Palmer's barbs, and it's sometimes a little harder. Now, if you're still having a hard time getting it on, especially in these tight places, I have a set of these kind of bent needle nose pliers, and these are non grooved on the inside. So we'll just grab the back of it and use it to wiggle it on. And usually it gets on there. Another thing is when you put this on here, if I can get it up here in here. If I can get it to focus, let's just get it zoomed in. Okay, so you're gonna zoom in right here. You want to make sure it's square and this rubber hose isn't kinked off to the side, so it's not closing in any of that pathway. You guys notice I have my silicone tech mat. I like it. It's made by S&B. S&B silicone tool tray, what it is, and you can get it. Let's put a link to it. I always try to make sure that my hoses are not in the path with the barrel, so they don't rub on the barrel. And this front pneumatic hose, or the front ram hose, is a little too long. Let's shorten it up. You don't want to shorten it too much. If you shorten it too much, you'll get where it kinks. There we go. I could probably go a little shorter, but it's not in the way. It's not kinked anywhere. Doesn't have any tight bends. That's one of the things you kind of want to watch out for, and stuff like that. So Anyway, so real quick tip on the macro line. If you want the writing off of it, either you can cut through it, that's one way of doing it, or you can use a little bit of acetone and wipe it down. It shouldn't hurt the macro line at all. As long as you're just wiping it on and off, it should be fine. All right, Doc Fire out.